Hello, welcome again to the Friday Fix. I wanted to show you I have a new development. This is my bag of virtues, okay? And the bag is much better because with the boxes I had to have two boxes because the boxes couldn't hold all of the virtues. There's about 60 of them in here. And I chose my virtue from the bag this week. It's honor. And we're gonna have some new photographs that I took with my new phone of the South Carolina skies, and we're gonna talk about this virtue of honor. Hope you have a good time. See you soon. I'm gonna start today with the virtuesproject.com definition of honor, but we're going to move on to look at an article very interesting about Malcolm Gladwell. He is the author of David and Goliath, Underdogs, Misfits, and the Art of Battling Giants. That's his most recent book. And there's an article in Inc.com by Jill Krasny that I'm going to look at. Then there is, last but not least, I'm going to look at 2 of the 4 agreements. It's a practical guide to personal freedom by Don Miguel Ruiz. And we're going to look at the first and the fourth of these 4 agreements because they relate to this topic of honor. So first, the definition. Honor is living by the virtues, showing great respect for yourself, other people, and the rules you live by. When you are honorable, you keep your word. You do the right thing regardless of what others are doing. Honor is a path of integrity. That sentence, you do the right thing regardless of what others are doing, reminded me of this article which I just read this week. And in this article, Jill Krasny talks about Gladwell's ideas about the kinds of attitudes that lie behind provocateurs. Gladwell says he thinks provocateurs are people who do not require the approval of their peers in order to do what they think is correct. And Gladwell says this is what psychologists call disagreeable. These people are disagreeable. I find this as a truism in my own life. You start out perhaps going with the flow, and as long as you go with the flow, then everything is okay and people will like you. And this is something that, when you're young, people want other people to like them and to be agreeable with them. But sometimes you have to be disagreeable because sometimes everybody who you know is going on a path that you don't necessarily think is the right way to go. And so what are you going to do? You need to be disagreeable sometimes. Gladwell says successful disruptors, he calls provocateurs disruptors, are people who are capable of an active imagination. They begin reimagining their world by reframing the problem in a way no one had framed it before. And I also recommend that book about David and Goliath because it turned upside down my idea of what that story was all about. The 4 agreements, I said I would talk about that. The first agreement of these agreements is be impeccable with your word. This means to speak with integrity, say only what you mean, avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others, and use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. Man, this speaks for itself, being impeccable with your word. I really recommend you read the whole book, but this is 1/4 of the book is this, and it is a very important concept to honor your word. The 4th of the 4 agreements is always do your best. One of the big takeaways from this is that your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. And you know when you are healthy and when you are sick. If you're like me, you will know I used to pretend sometimes to be sick, to be more sick than I really was because I wanted to avoid doing something, going to school or doing some chores. But if you always do your best, that is honoring and being someone following this path of integrity. Honor is a path of integrity. And so to always do your best means under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and self-regret. And this is the most important thing, I think. Others may abuse you, and you may regret what others do to you, but there's no regret like they regret when you judge yourself and you know that you have not done your own best at all times. Thank you for joining us for the Friday Fix. Goodbye.